Here we are.
Extended filter, possibly.
Possibly.
I didn't warn you, but tonight's podcast is sponsored by Briggs Auction, so we will
Ooh,
need. I think it's the last spot of the pod, so you'll have some time. But I
thank you.
will need a CJ,
Yeah.
you know,
I wish
item
this
of the week.
I wish this was this is more complex than like me going on Briggs Auction and just seeing what I like, because
Is it?
if it's something that I like, then I don't
Oh,
want to go parade around saying, "Oh, this is my item of the week." So it needs to be
right.
something cool, but not cool enough that I'm gonna miss
Cool
out
for
on it.
somebody else,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. Mm.
Mm. What do we got? What do we got?
You running again? How quick did you start running after your marathon?
I was actually just talking to Kelly about this. I have not ran. I've been climbing a little bit, but I've also been busy with the work, so I've been pretty dormant for the
Mm.
most part. It'll be next week. It'll be a month without running, so
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna get back into it soon. I think I'm doing a half in April,
Okay.
so that's like the next kind of goal in mind.
Love the half length. Love the half length
It's
comparatively.
Yeah, I'm excited to do it now that I have the marathon behind me, as it will appear more digestible.
I remember when I ran the LA Marathon with my brother. It was the first one I ran. It was a long time ago. I don't know. I was probably trying to think.
How
I
many have
wasn't
you done?
even. What's that?
How many
Just two.
marathons? Two.
Two marathons, 3 halves, Broad Street run 3 times. So ran the LA Marathon. I think it was like 28. And so it is 20 years ago. It's not like not everybody had a cell phone all the time, whatever. But my brother and I each had cell phones. We were both running the marathon, and we both had cell phones, so we could call each other. He's faster than I am. And I remember calling my mom as I crossed the halfway point. And I told her, I was like, I'm crossing the halfway point. And she said, "You're almost there." And I got so mad at her. I was like, I'm not almost there. I've run 13 miles. I have like nothing left, and I have to do it again. I got my poor mom. She's just trying to encourage me, and I just
Sure.
got mad at her. Yeah.
It's fun. Before a week before I had the marathon, I ran 20 miles and that at that point that was a long side ran.
Yeah, that's the
And
normal longest before, like in the training run is 20. Yeah.
that's also what I found out. And I think I was at like mile 17 or 18, and Kelly, my girlfriend, texted me at like mile 17 or 18. She's like, "Oh, you got to be almost done by now, right?" And to her, that was like, yeah, encouraging. Like, "Oh, it's gonna be over soon, right?" And to me, I was like, I
Furious.
cannot believe I'm looking at my phone right now and I see this text, and I'm just like in such a
Seething.
deep pain for the
Yeah.
next 2 miles. And I'm like, this girl just thinks that I can just finish these next 2 miles so
Yeah.
easily. Like, oh, why did I fit? Oh yeah, I should have thought about that. I should have finished earlier. Could have
The
been
first
easier.
one I ran, I finished with some 12-year-old kid named Eddie. His
A
name
marathon?
Eddie? Yeah, maybe he was 10. He was young. I have the picture somewhere. A little kid. He was running with his dad, and his knee went like with 6 miles left in the marathon, and I was
Ooh.
struggling. I was just looking for somebody to run with. So I ran the last like mile and a half with the poor kid. Probably was like, this fucking guy, leave me
Wow.
alone.
I
just
was
just so everyone knows, we're just waiting. Mike will be here. We're just waiting for Mike. That's all. So it's a little longer filter, and you're just getting a little BSing with me and CJ.
Speaking of this topic, I was on the last clip that I made for the pod. It was talking about the Halliburton Harden
Uh-huh.
options.
Yeah.
So for a bit of time, I was looking back at old pods to see if I could find that conversation, and then I stumbled across more pods than I remember doing an extended filter in
Oh, really?
of like we did a filter in of like 30 minutes one time.
Wasn't it just a filter in? I feel like
separately. That was another.
Yeah.
I do remember that one where Mike never came.
Okay.
Because he was stuck in a writer's room.
I remember that.
But then there was another one that we were just doing this for like a half an hour, which I completely forgot about. And it was just a normal pod after. And I'm just thinking like, what were we doing? But it happened.
Damn, my knee. Fuck.
How are you getting back into running? Are you?
Oh, no. Running. I think running.
I mean, 10,000 steps is a lot of steps.
It's a lot of steps.
The average person.
You know, it's funny. They tell you that you should get 10,000 steps, but when you start counting your steps, you realize that there's no way to get to 10,000 steps without being incredibly purposeful about walking. You have to walk. No one's going to naturally get like 10,000 steps. So I've been around there. I think the running is probably more month. I'm 1 month out. Is probably more month 3 or 4. That would be my guess. Having some knee issues, but I'm walking without a cane, which is good.
That's good.
Yeah,
guys, I was listening to while I was taking a shit.
Oh,
and what a joy it was.
We're just talking about running.
Spike running with a 10-year-old kid.
Yep.
CJ getting mad at his girlfriend for caring about him. It's great. Great content.
No.
Yeah.
No, you
I had a good time.
simply misinterpreted that.
Really made my stomach pain go down easy.
Good.
You ready to rock, buddy?
Let's rock. Let's rock some threes. The way that Boban has.
that never came up again, but I laugh every time I think about rocking threes. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process, briggsauction.com, and Kinetic Skateboarding. Get 9.1% off your first order with promo code Dave Silver. On the show today, the Sixers, with a easy professional win over the Pistons, are now 4-0 in their stretch of easy 7 games. Can you believe it? Winning the games they're supposed to win now by a large margin. Also, Daryl Morey's musical plays Philadelphia tonight. Zach LaVine reappears in Starhunter. It's not our fault, trust me. And a truly disgusting voicemail. I'll say it quickly. I want you to sign up for Fly the Process. Join us in Los Angeles. Be a big group of us being total weirdos in March for Sixers Clippers. Go to rightsrickysanchez.com/fly, or if you want to, if you're going there and you don't need a travel package, maybe you're in LA, maybe you want to go somewhere different or come from somewhere different than Philadelphia, send an email to joe@fansofphilly.com. I did mention Kinetic Skateboarding. The gear is fucking hot right now, is what I'm saying. Where's my hoodie? Actually, I was wearing this watching the game. I don't know if you remember this, Mike, the Spike Eskin Pro Model hoodie that they did. They did the camo hoodie for me with the Reaper logo on the back. It's pretty sick.
That's nice.
Anyway, they have a lot of stuff out right now with the holidays coming up. You need a Christmas present. Hanukkah's almost over, right? But you need a Christmas present. You need to get something for somebody. Maybe you got the Secret Santa at work. Maybe it's a $30 limit. I want you to go to kineticskateboarding.com. I want you to follow them on social at Kinetic Skateboarding on Instagram, at Kinetic Skate on Twitter. Just tons of like new shit coming through. Sneakers, t-shirts. Maybe get a cool t-shirt for somebody at work for Secret Santa. You know, maybe you got an older brother wants a hoodie, something like that. Go to kineticskateboarding.com now. Use promo code Dave Silver for 9.1% off your first order. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Love the new intro video. Welcome to the Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who, when he's not rocking threes, is rocking poop right before the podcast. That is one Mike Lavine.
That's right. That's my Pat Bev one beer tradition. After a win, I get to shit. After a loss, I have to take my shit on the podcast live.
A nice little win here.
Two in a row. Two very easy ones.
Very easy ones. Exactly the way they should be. Mm-hmm. Embiid tonight, 30 points at the half. Just fucking pretty easy. Finishes with what, 40? 40? Did he finish with 40?
41, I believe.
41. Easy. Look, another easy win. Maxey, I don't know, Maxey even hit 2 shots all night, and somehow they win easily. Just a nice fucking easy win over the worst team in the NBA. Yeah. But I have to tell you, the back-to-back over Detroit made me pretty nervous anyway. So 1 down, 1 to go.
Yeah. But if you had to pick which one they would lose, it'd probably be the one with us at home, right?
Yes. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I like these low-stress games.
Yep.
I like that Embiid has allowed himself to miss a half dozen fourth quarters, something like that. The Sixers currently have the best net rating in the league. That's good. This is all very nice.
Seems good.
And yeah, I mean, Joel's just so good, man. He's just very good. 41 points on 14 shots, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Getting to the line, fouling, getting Isaiah Stewart in foul trouble in 3 seconds. He had 30 in the first half, doing a lot of work on the offensive glass, which I love. And
Embiid came out with a lot of defensive energy, I felt like, tonight, too, in a game that I didn't think he would. But he seemed pretty spry out there tonight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Pistons are real bad, but watching him do his thing. Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. I liked watching. There was one play that was very demonstrative of his growth. He's high post. Has Asar Thompson on his back, who's a great defender, obviously is more of a wing defender, but is still a very excellent defender, especially as a rookie. He gives him like a little shifty, quick spin middle, drives down the lane. Weissman comes over to help. He's out of control. Joel slows down, takes the bump, and as he's sort of falling down, has a little floater that goes in, M1. And it's just, I really think, Joel hasn't been playing basketball for that long still. And he got so much better as a shooter. He didn't shoot that much at Kansas as far as like face up. It was a lot of back down stuff, and it was a lot of just, being very big and able to dunk anything. He caught more lobs at Kansas, which I do resent him for not doing in Philadelphia. But
different physically, no.
For sure. But the amount of things that he has added to his game just because he felt like it, and his passing and floater situation, adding touch to his game is not something like, if I was going to try to teach someone to add touch, I don't know how you would go about doing that, but it does feel like he has done that. Another spin baseline this time to get around Weissman to finish N1. It's just so money in the mid range, getting to his spots, manipulating the defense to get his kick out lanes if they double. And they just didn't have a chance. They did not have a chance against him.
The passing, he's starting to get, now the confidence is leading to him turning the ball over a little bit because he's taking chances on stuff. But
a few turnovers in Washington going behind the back in transition. Not certain that that's going to last.
But and some stuff in half court where he's trying to I know it's like the thing where you're playing basketball and you think it looks one way, and then you see video of it and you're like, maybe it doesn't look that way. And I know in his head, he sees these passes that he's throwing like total fucking dimes, and they get picked off or kicked away or whatever, but he's getting confident and comfortable with it, which I think is really important, just making quick decisions with the ball when he's passing. And I think, there's still a lot of regular season left. And as good a passer as he's been this year, I think there's a lot more room to grow there in a place that I didn't think he probably had it. And we were making fun of him before the season, always wanting to pass and always wanting to play like Jokic. And I don't think he's always wanted to do that, but he's clearly committed to it, and he likes it, and he likes stats too. So I think there's more to go there, and I didn't think there was more to go there before that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Daryl on this podcast said Embiid wants to be Magic Johnson, which I think is very funny to imagine.
Yeah.
And he was great. Yeah.
I officially, I know you've dismissed this several times, but so far this season, he's the most valuable player in the league, and I want him to win it again.
I do not want him to win it again.
He deserves to win it again. And
I would love for him to lose it.
I would love for him to win it. And there's just a few things that I'm sick of hearing. The first thing is like, obviously, his failure in the playoffs last year was embarrassing. I agree. But both Giannis and Jokic won the MVP twice. And when they won the MVP the first time, neither one of them got to the finals. I think Jokic lost in the second round. And then the next year, after he won the MVP again, he lost in the first round in embarrassing fashion. Giannis lost in the conference finals after losing in the first round twice, won MVP twice. The thing is, you can't just look at the stats, because there's a lot of players right now that have great stats. We're sort of in that era where you see 8 different players one night going for like 32, 11, and 8.
Yeah.
His stats are ridiculous. But I'm telling you, as somebody that watches this team every single game, they have so you said best net rating or best point differential. Do you mean point differential or rating?
I think I meant point differential, but I also think I might have meant both.
Okay, so both. So they either have the number 1 point differential in the NBA or second. And I can tell you, without him playing, that they would not be a 500 team. Like, this team looks, no disrespect to Tyrese Maxey, no disrespect to anybody else on the team, they're not a 500 team without Joel Embiid. And with him, they have the best point differential in the NBA. And it's no accident, by the way, that I'm not saying that these players aren't talented, but it's no accident that Ben Simmons was here. He plays point guard with Joel Embiid. He ends up an all-star. It's no accident that James Harden came in and was able to change his entire way of playing and become the league leader in assists playing next to Joel Embiid. And it's no accident that, I'm not saying that Tyrese Maxey didn't work to leap and get better, but it's no accident that he's made a leap to an all-star player being the point guard for Embiid. He is the best defensive player on the team. He's the best offensive player on the team. He's the most valuable player on the team. And I want him to win it again. And I'm not going to be shamed into not cheering for him to get it again because of what happened in the playoffs. No, he has to win it. So he has the responsibility. So he has the weight on his back to not let us down in the playoffs again. And I hereby am endorsing a second MVP run for Joel Embiid.
I mean, if he doesn't win MVP, you don't feel like he would have the weight on his back to not let us down in the playoffs again?
I want as much weight as possible. I want him climbing a mountain with a backpack full of bricks. Yeah.
No, I don't want it to happen. I won't shame you for wanting it, but I would feel so embarrassed if he wins MVP again and they suck in the playoffs again.
Right is right. If he's either the MVP or he's not. Is he the most valuable player in basketball? Because I can tell you, the Bucks would be still a pretty good team without Giannis. Like, I don't like. It's not Jason Tatum. It's not Jokic this year.
I think it's probably Jokic.
It's not this year.
I mean, he's been excellent.
Not better than Embiid.
I don't want him to get it. I don't care. I don't want him to get it. I don't want it. It was embarrassing last time. It would be even more embarrassing.
I'm proud. The Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Mike, I'm not going to talk about it now, but I will tell you that there is a connection. I will tell the next time we talk about Big Barker, an amazing connection between Big Barker Dog Beds and another Ricky sponsor. I want you to think on that. And it doesn't have to do with an engagement. I'll knock Kornblau off. There's an amazing connection that just happened within the last several months between Big Barker and another Ricky sponsor. I'll tell you about it. Right now, I'll tell you about Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Rebel, my dog, the most important being in my life. I hope my wife doesn't hear this. I love my wife too. But Rebel, my dog, sleeps on a Big Barker. BigBarker.com/Ricky. He sleeps on a Big Barker because his health is important to me. His happiness is important to me. You're like, bed? How does that have to do with the dog's health? Well, think about you. You're more healthy if you sleep on a supportive mattress, right? If you slept on a bad mattress all the time, you'd wake up, you'd feel like shit. Back would hurt, have trouble getting around in the morning. And then think about as you get older, it would get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Dogs are the same. Big Barker dog bed is engineered by experts to keep your dog's joints humming along. Keep your older dog, get him back to his best. Your younger dog, keep him youthful. That arthritis that comes along as dogs get older, it helps fight it off. It's been proven by Penn Vet. It's not bullshit. I want you to go to bigbarker.com/Ricky. Read about the Big Barker. Look at it. Different colors, different sizes, different shapes. Whatever size dog you have, from a tiny one to a giant one, whatever room you're putting it in, the Big Barker dog bed, they've got one for you. It is the highest quality, best product. Your job as a dog owner is to give that dog the happiest, healthiest life possible. That's your job. You can't do it without a Big Barker. 10-year warranty, the foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. 1 year at-home trial. If you don't like it, shame on you, but they'll give you a full refund and they'll pay for the shipping. Handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds. The other thing from this game, and he didn't have an outstanding game, like he was just there, but I have decided that I am on the other side of the Marcus Morris thing. I like watching that guy ball. He's a bucket. I like watching him. Like he's gonna hit a game winner at some point. He's gonna get hot. I don't really have a problem with Marcus Morris playing.
He has been a better offensive player than I would expect it. He's been had a couple nice passes, better passing than I would expect. He has been starting to get a little. He's making them, but it makes me scared. Dribbling into mid-range shots and doing that like 2015 thing. He's just an absolutely atrocious defender. He cannot slide his feet. He's always in the wrong place. He can't do it.
He's got to be shooting 50% from three. The guy makes every three he takes.
He didn't take one tonight.
Oh.
But
well, he only took two shots tonight.
He's a fine shooter. He is fine enough on the offensive end. That's fine. But what I would much prefer in that rotation spot is a person that can defend and get stops. And in the playoffs, that's what's going to matter. And so he's a better offensive player than I would have given him credit for. When we acquired him, I was not like overly against, but you watch him in the time that he's been here and he's just like relatively pretty hopeless on the defensive end. He's made a couple plays here and there, which is always surprising because of how bad he is regularly. But yeah, I just don't think that they have a good offense. Their offense is fine. Embiid and Maxey and shooters, that's going to do it. They'll be good. But it's defense when that's going to burn you, and the defense has been bad for a number of weeks. So that's the issue for me.
Tobias deserves some. We're back to normal Tobias. It's actually
we're back.
Borderline good Tobias.
This was good Tobias.
Threes, I think. Yep.
3 of 5 from deep. That'll count. A dunk.
Yep.
He's up to 18
An
dunks
offensive
on the
rebound,
year.
a tough offensive rebound. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I know in my notes. Nice physical offensive rebound. I wrote.
There you go.
Getting to the line, I'm fine with. I like bullying bad, undisciplined teams. That's fine. I want more duck-ins. I like him sealing. I like that high-low with Joel when Joel's at the top of the key and there's nobody underneath to protect the rim. If Tobias has Killian Hayes or any sort of smaller guard or wing on him, absolutely. He's physical and strong down there. He's not physical enough to draw fouls all the time, although he got run to the line 4 times. But he's physical enough to get position. And that, I thought that was pretty good. He had a nice game. And I want to say I saw the snide comment directed my way on Twitter.
About what?
That I said I've been defending Tobias defensively for a number of years, which I have.
Well,
but my point was always Tobias is a solid on-ball defender. Off-ball, falls asleep, doesn't look, doesn't get deflections, doesn't know where to stand, overhelps, all that stuff. But on ball, one-on-one, he's fine. He had a nice block on ball on Cade tonight. He does that stuff. He moves his feet. He's hard to get around. He's big. He's fine. So I noticed it. I know, even though you didn't tag me in it. I saw the dig, and I wanted to be clear that it is on ball defense. Tobias had was better than his reputation.
The only reason that I was specifically pointing it out is because you're obliterating his defense in the video. That's all.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's been a bad stretch until tonight. It was it's definitely been a bad stretch for our guy.
I have a new sound button, by the way.
You know, the number one ability is availability, right?
Oh my God.
Cornblow sent me a text.
Too many
Tell
things.
me where to find that.
That's just too many things at once. That would trigger me. Too many of them all at once. I'm short circuiting.
You know, the number one ability is availability, right?
Incredible.
Hey, look, I don't know what the fuck happened to. I think it was obviously the Laker game that it happened. Was it the Laker game or was it the Celtic game? It was the Celtic game.
You talking about Pat Bev?
But he just fucking. It was
He was 4 of 8 in that Lakers game. Yeah.
Yeah. He just out of nowhere, he looks like a completely alive player. The three I expect to go in all the time.
Yeah.
It's like he is playing with like a determination, at least offensively. I expect it on defense, but like offensively, a confidence and a determination that I feel like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I wrote about it in the newsletter that will be coming out, tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yep.
About Pat Bev's shooting improvement. And if you include tonight, he's 14 of his last 31 from deep. Mm-hmm. And he's taken a bunch.
Confident as shit.
And he's confident. And
Yeah.
after going he was short on everything in the first few weeks. He's moving into it. It's just definitely helpful. He's a helpful player when he's doing that. And he's doing it with guys like in the vicinity. He doesn't have to be wide open. And so that's super helpful. Especially when there are guys on the team, and namely Tobias, who, not tonight excluded, need to see a lot of runway before he's willing to take that three. Can we talk about Maxey for a sec?
Yeah.
Bad Maxey game for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. He
Bad
knew it,
shooting.
too. Yep.
Asar Thompson is really, really good defender and tough on him. The kind of like the Boston-y defender, right? Like big, long, and quick. And if he can't get by you quite much, and he can't like shoot over you, and it's just, what's he going to do? And I think these are tremendous learning experiences for him to have, struggles for him to go through, so that as the number one option or number one ball handler, he didn't make a shot in the first half. Finally hits a lefty runner and then clapped at the rim, which I thought was very charming when it went in. I would say when Maxey doesn't have it in a game like tonight, 0 of 6 from 3, 2 of 13 from the field, 9 assists and 1 turnover, very nice. But like there's different schools of thoughts on this. Like I think coaches probably would rather he continue to be aggressive and continue trying and finding different ways to do it. But when you're such a focal point of the other team's defense that they're not letting you get off your regular shots, I would almost go, I'm only driving to draw the defense. I'm only driving to kick. I'm purely a decoy ball handler to get other guys open looks. And when you shut off, like I do this to myself sometimes if I'm shooting badly or I'm just like mad at myself, I'll just go like, I'm not shooting in this game, or like a pickup game. Like I'm not shooting in this game. I don't tell that to the other team, so they don't know that I've turned off shooting as an option unless I'm like wide open. But the idea of I'm simply going to close off one of those things and use it to manipulate the defense to get other guys open looks. It makes it like frees you up a little bit. And I wanted to see Maxey doing a little bit of that more because he wasn't getting anywhere. Like the Thompson twins can just fucking defend like crazy, and he didn't have it tonight. So he still got 9 assists, 1 turnover. It's not like he was just chucking a ton of times. He only took 13 shots. So he might have been doing it in his mind or something. But I like seeing that offensive improvement and involving the teammates, especially on nights when you don't have it. Like how Kyle Lowry does, or how Chris Paul does. Like you're a point guard, you can occasionally go like, all right, tonight I'm just getting like 17 assists. And it's because I either don't have the shot or I don't have the matchup or whatever it is. I'm just going to use other people.
I agree. I also don't mind seeing him struggle in a game that they win by like 20 points.
This is the team to do it against.
Yeah. And a very hilarious, Mike O'Connor had a funny tweet about it, but a funny Melton game for a lot of reasons because there was all kinds of Melton in there, almost like Danny. He's almost like taking up the Danny
He has a
sort of
little bit, hasn't he?
mantle of having a little bit of everything, you know, the good defense, hits a three, also smokes a layup.
Yeah. And he had 3 misses in the Washington game around the rim. So it's going back the other way.
Yeah.
Did have a two-handed dunk down the lane, which I liked. I mean, I just really like Melton as a player. I was talking about with some people this weekend about like what is Melton would be. It'd be really nice to sign him. He's an expiring contract. It'd be really, really nice to have him on this team for another few years.
Yep.
And I'm interested to see. You know, he's getting underpaid now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Is
interested to
he
see.
at 8, 9, something like that? Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what he gets this offseason and how the Sixers use it to manipulate it and whether like because if they sign, you know, the order of operations is important, right? Of if they don't trade for anybody now and they just let everybody expire, then they'd have to wait. They'd have to be like, hey, don't sign with anybody else. We want to sign you, but let us just like sign this other, you know, say it's OG Anunoby or whatever, something first. But if they sign for somebody that has years on their contract still prior to the deadline, then that can be their focus point is signing guys like Melton or Batum or Covington or whoever to additional years.
Melton's that's a hard player to find.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a hard player to find as good as he is. Now, you don't want to get yourself in a spot where you're overpaying for that guy if you don't have everybody else in place. That's the problem.
For sure.
What do you think is he a 18 million a year guy? And
I would love it to be like 14 or 15.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think it'll probably
he's
be
better
closer
than
to
that.
20.
Yeah.
And that's partially why I don't think, even though plop Caruso on this team, and that would be helpful. Obviously, he's a good player, but I'm not willing to trade the picks that it would require to have a guy who is pretty similar to Melton. He's probably better on the defensive end, maybe a better ball handler and a worse shooter.
Well, I've been saying I'd rather have Melton than Caruso. I think. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I'd rather have Melton than Caruso.
Yeah, I think they're closer than their trade values would suggest, but they're getting paid about the same amount right now. So yeah. So nice to have Oubre back.
Yeah.
It's so nice to have him back and playing well. He had a great game tonight, 17 points on 7 of 9 shooting. I mean, he's great. You were so anti because of people that told you. Do you want to like?
No,
I'm saying, do you want to like out them for being wrong?
Oh,
the people
I don't think
told
they
you
were
he was
wrong.
bad.
I mean,
He has played good team basketball and done everything the Sixers asked.
No, but they like everything that they saw. I think it's impossible to predict that this guy would be humbled and change how he plays. I mean, I think every piece of information I got was accurate based on everything that they had seen, and obviously him getting I've come to the conclusion, and I've said it before, he has been great. I agree.
Yeah,
he has
of
played better than expected, but clearly this offseason was a wake-up call for him. Yeah. But the point that you made that was right, it was like, well, he's minimum guy, whatever. If he sucks, then you fucking don't play him, you know, whatever. But he's been great. Yeah, he's been great.
And he's easily been a top 5 most important player on this team.
Yes,
this year. I love I can't say enough about his like attacking and cutting and shooting off the catch, no matter how close his defender is. I love that he's making up for the non-dunks on this team too often. He tried to drop a hammer on Isaiah Livers.
Tonight,
that was awesome. He had 1 assist tonight, but I'm going to give him 3 because he made a pass to Embiid, sealing Wiseman for an assist, and then Wiseman fouled him because he knows that I want Oubre assist, and Wiseman knows that I think he's a terrible player. And then he had Marcus Morris underneath, and Morris couldn't corral the pass. And Morris also knows that I don't particularly like him. And so I'm counting both of those as assists. That's 3 tonight. So that's almost 5 for Kelly in only 23 minutes. So get Tobias out with like a sprained ankle. You get Kelly Oubre playing like 35 minutes one night. He's going to get me my 5 assists. He's getting me for it.
There's no way he's getting 5 assists.
He's getting
in a
it.
game this season.
He is getting
no way.
Batum, I just have such a basketball crush on Nick Batum. It's becoming like an issue. Everything he does, I love it. I'm charmed by all of it. His quick decision making, his like athleticism in unusual ways. He got a nice pass from Cove on the baseline and just hit like a calm fade away from an awkward spot. Just like professional player, like a professional basketball player does everything right. And he made a gorgeous pass inside to Joel down the baseline. And it's so great to see Joel getting as many easy looks as he gets. And it's because of like the professional basketball players in his team that give him easy looks. Covington, by the way, had a nice crossover into an N1 floater. Got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
And also got to call out B-Ball's wild lefty scoop and one off of a Maxey pick and roll. Not a great B-Ball game. He had a couple of nice moments, but that was
a couple of iffy games. B-Ball.
He was good against Washington, wasn't he? Yeah, he was solid. 4, 6, and 3.
Okay, you're right.
13 minutes.
Then I'm thinking the game before it when he
the game before was bad. That's when he got benched. Dan House had 3 threes in that Washington game. Unbelievable. I'm looking at the box score now. That was a great game. Won by 45. Every game should be like this. This is the regular season. This is what we want.
So, Mike, before we get to Daryl Morey's musical and Star Hunter.
And it was a good Jaden Springer garbage time game. Okay. Credit. Give it to him. Give it to him.
Sure.
A couple assists, stepped into a 3.
Yeah.
We need that.
And so this is it. I'm looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Jokic is the favorite to win MVP at plus 200. Doncic is at plus 400. They've been trying to give it to Luka Doncic for 5 years now. Embiid's at plus 550. I'm looking at you right now. If you're listening, if you're watching, drop $10 on Embiid at plus 550. I
don't think he will get enough votes no matter what. I think inarguably he's better than he's been last year. He's better on defense. He's better obviously as a distributor. But I think that the voters will feel like hurt by how Embiid treated them after giving them the vote, giving them MVP last year.
Fucking drop $10 on plus 550. DraftKings Sportsbook.
I think there's almost no chance he wins.
Drop $10 on it. It's important to me. I'm going to make it.
Will you pay everybody back?
No. But Mike, it's funny you say that. DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. This week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on basketball. So I'm not going to pay you back, but DraftKings, they've got your back. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code RTRS. You know what I haven't done in a while? I got really into the live betting the Sixers like mid-game because I knew how the game was going to end, and I haven't done it at all. I like the live betting in the DraftKings Sportsbook app now.
It's a different feeling when Doc's not the coach. You're still a little catching up to like, okay, what is this team's vibe?
It did feel like I was cheating for a while because I knew exactly what would happen. Yeah. And you're right, I don't know now. Download the app now. Use code RTRS. New customers get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code RTRS. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details. So, Daryl Morey tonight in Philadelphia. And it was invite only.
I feel like I need to be wearing some sort of like protective suit to cover the amount of cringe that I am going to be feeling.
The guy, he's allowed to have non-basketball interests.
Absolutely. And I love him for it. And I'm allowed to cringe so hard my body starts convulsing.
Tonight at the Philadelphia Theater Company, I wanted to go, but it's hard for me to get down there during the week. The Philadelphia Theater Company had a special workshop presentation of Small Ball the Musical, a passion project of his.
I like the way you said it. Small Ball.
Small Ball the Musical, with amazing creators Mick Omar, Meryl Van Jick, and Tony Barilla. And there was a story. This has been for years. I found a story in the New York Times from like 5-6 years ago.
Plays take a long time to go.
He was on. The art of it is good too. Now, thanks to, hold on, somebody sent this clip of him saying what I want to watch you watching the clip of what the musical is about. Actually,
I have seen it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
This came from Ethan. So here we go. This is what Small Ball the Musical is about.
Island nation that has been discovered, basically, and they want to put their self on the world stage. They want tourism. They want people to come visit their island. So they decide the best way to do that is to start a FIBA basketball team. They realize they don't know they don't know what to do to start a basketball team. So they, who do you hire if you want to start a team? You hire Michael Jordan. So they hire Michael Jordan to come to their island, help start their team. When Michael get there, they realize they made a terrible mistake, that it's just some guy named Michael Jordan. And so the whole show, his character is not the Michael Jordan. And essentially, you then find out that this island is actually the rediscovered island of Lilliput, and all the players are 6 inches tall except not Michael Jordan. So they have to go win basketball games with 6-inch tall people. So as you might guess, it's a absurdist comedy with a lot of fun music. The whole show actually happens in post-game press conferences. So what we're doing right now, all 3 acts of the show are around each post-game press conference, and we talk about how it's only in basketball where after you win or often lose a game, you're asked like, why did you lose that game? So it would be like if you guys are on the air and right after you finish, they're like, why didn't you read that cue card correctly? Explain what was going through your mind when you messed that up. So look, it's a show that you don't have to know basketball. You don't have to. If you love basketball, there's a lot of good jokes. If you love musical theater, there's a lot for everybody.
There you go. Thanks to NBC.
Something for everybody. Wonder where we got that. Wonder where we got the idea of appealing to everybody.
With something, yeah. So I wished I want to see it. Obviously, wish Daryl. I love Daryl.
I love Daryl, man. Good for him. Like just singularly himself all the time.
Yeah, and honestly, took a page out of Weekly Becky's book in being completely out of breath.
Look, I will say, pitching your scripted idea is always difficult and always a little odd. And it is, if you don't have it written down to perform it in a way that you are cohesively comfortable with, it's gonna sound like a run-on sentence. But
the number one ability is availability, right?
That's true.
All right, before we get to Star Hunter, a surprise. That's right, we haven't done it in a while. It's time for the Jigsaw.
Play.
I will play this game.
Game we play.
I will play this game.
I miss you.
I will play this game.
I'm worried. Play.
I will play this game.
And after the game, they were interviewing him, and they said, how does it feel to win the ultimate game? And he said, if it's the ultimate game, why are they playing it again next year?
The Jigsaw is where I give Mike 2 terrible choices.
You can't play Doug Collins and Doc Rivers so close to each other at me.
Dangerous. Especially this close to you going to the bathroom, all that kind of stuff.
Luckily, the Sixers won. If they hadn't, it would be a different situation.
Noah sent in a Jigsaw. I thought it was particularly interesting in that it wasn't gross. So this comes from Noah. Noah says, given the following compulsions, which would you rather be afflicted with? Number 1, you must answer every single phone call that comes to you and fully engage in whatever the person on the other end is asking of you. Auto warranty renewals, in-laws, surveys, etc. Or 2, you must fully read from beginning to end every single thing that arrives in your physical mailbox. This includes insurance stuff, supermarket flyers, bills, etc. Which
Good
one?
question. I would probably go with the phone one. I did this the other day, not the other day, maybe a month ago. Where I got a call engaged in a conversation with some random person over the phone who called to ask how I felt about some like local politicians, and I was like, you know what, I will answer this because I'm sure only like 97-year-old people take the time to do this.
Yep.
And I'm gonna do it. And the person I was on the phone with did not feel like I was doing them a favor.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was. I felt like I really was. And by the end of it, she seemed like pissed off at me that I didn't know who a lot of these people were, even though she's repeated herself several times, and that I haven't like hung up on her by now.
Yeah.
It seemed like she was like, just fucking, this isn't going anywhere. She couldn't hang up on me. I was just answering a question, but the demeanor was not. It became weirdly combative, and I was just answering the questions. And I was like, don't know enough to make a difference. I started getting mad about it, so maybe I won't do it again. But reading all your mail sounds awful.
Yeah. You know what I usually do? I won't answer them, but I will compliment them on what they're doing. I'll say, hey, I know you have to do this. Good for you. I appreciate the work that you're doing. I'm not going to do this with you. And then that's it. So I don't know if that makes me a bigger asshole or or what, and then
Well.
I'm acknowledging how hard it is, and I'm still not doing it.
No good deed. I wanted more thank yous.
Yeah. It is time for Star Hunter. Of course, the Sixers may remain one major piece away from being a championship contender. Daryl now armed with 3 first-round picks. We get into who the Sixers could hunt. Now, we have both dismissed Zack LaVine as somebody we're not interested in. However, this from Shams of The Athletic. Elsewhere in Chicago, the Bulls are expected to continue probing interested teams on a Zack LaVine trade. The Bulls have won 4 consecutive games for the first time since February 22, are now 9-14. All of the wins have come without LaVine, who will miss 3 to 4 more weeks to treat his right foot inflammation. And interested teams are keeping an eye on LaVine's health situation and his return to play. The Los Angeles Lakers and Philadelphia 76ers are expected suitors for LaVine, but both are operating from positions of patience and due diligence. And then we got this phone call to 833 Lickface.
Mike, CJ, this is Jacob. The more I look at this list of 2024 free agents, the more convinced I am that the 76ers are just going to do all of their salary cap shopping at the trade deadline. It just makes a lot of sense. You've got all these expiring contracts, which are going to be valuable to teams that want to get off a deal or want to duck the salary cap or the apron. I think that it just makes too much sense considering the class that's available. I wouldn't be comfortable giving any of the guys at the top of this list, maybe Paul George, a long-term, high-money contract. And I know that his name, I know a lot of Sixers fans are nervous about the cap figure that he brings with him, but his name just keeps getting brought up in connection with the Sixers. I think Zach LaVine ticks a lot of boxes for the Sixers for what they need, for a guy that can create on the ball, who can shoot, who's athletic. You know, he's a little bit deficient in athleticism, but you'd hope, or not in athleticism, but in defense, but you'd hope that at the price that he's allegedly going to be going for on the open market, that you could maybe still have enough assets after a Zach LaVine trade. Maybe you trade Tobias and a first and Springer for Zach LaVine, and you still have enough left over to go get a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith or some guy that can crack the playoff rotation. I just think that if he were a free agent, he'd be maybe the second or third best free agent, and Sixers fans would be lining up to give him that contract that he's on now. I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to hear some names that you guys have for people that you think the Sixers should go after in free agency or at the trade deadline.
So, Mike, A, do you believe that the Sixers will be a suitor for Zach LaVine? And B, have you been swayed by that voicemail?
No, I think the Sixers are going to be like a leverage team.
Yeah.
Use
because the Lakers are going to trade for him. It feels like the most
Probably.
Lakers move ever, doesn't it?
I would like for the Knicks to do it.
Oh, I don't think they will.
I would like for it.
No.
I think they just need one of RJ Barrett or Julius Randle to not be on the team anymore.
Yeah.
They're so much better when at least one of them is not there. I don't think he's just not that great to make up for all the ways he's deficient. Like, he holds the ball for too long. I think I'm not ruling out the possibility that some of the things about his game that I don't like are a result of him playing on mostly bad teams. But his behavior on those bad teams, including right now in the Chicago Bulls, of just kind of like moping and being very upset, now he's hurt. But prior to that,
he's hurt with foot inflammation.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
And it just feels like I don't want the Sixers get like one of these moves. And I understand that there's the possibility of the market being so minimal that you can get them for, Tobias, Springer, and one pick, but which would be a fair deal. But it's also like you get one of these and he's going to be signed for such a long time. And he really is such a bad defensive player and he holds the ball for too long. If you can use him as a movement shooter and then occasional, because he is fast with the ball in his hand still. He is super athletic still. He really is a very excellent offensive player, but I don't think like movement shooter is a guy that you want to give that much money to for that long when you already have Embiid and Maxey. You want someone that is a willing catch and shoot guy who's going to defend on the other end. And it's just not the one move. I'd be interested to see what happens with him on another team. I'm excited to watch him play on a good team, watch him play in the playoffs. But I don't want to be the one to jump off that ledge.
I enjoy watching him as well. Here's what I tasked myself with thinking, and this won't be there. Okay, I can't take watching Tobias anymore. I just said to myself, would you trade Tobias straight up for Zach LaVine, knowing that Tobias is expiring and Zach LaVine is not? And I think I came to the conclusion that I probably would not. And that's the only thing I need to know, is that the Bulls seem desperate to get off of LaVine, like desperate to get off of him. And
they waited too long. Once
Yes.
again, what a horribly run organization they are.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Zach's got 2 more years at 43 and 46 million, and then a player option for 49 million. That's a lot of money. It maybe won't look as much money once the figures adjust going forward, and we resign ourselves to the new cap stuff. But that's a lot of money, man. And I just don't want to be the one paying it. I think you got to. I think sometimes people float these trade requests and go like, "Would you do it? Like, would you do this just this in a vacuum?" And it's like, yeah, I think Zack LaVine would be a better fit on this team than Tobias Harris. I think that very strongly.
Yeah.
But the amount, the choice you're making to apportion this much of the cap to Zach LaVine and this pick and Springer, and not allowing other players to fill that space that you're using for them, I think is prohibitive for me, and I wouldn't want to be the one to do it.
The Rice to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Briggs Auction. How much?
He's also hurt a lot.
Yes, he is hurt a lot. Sometimes his foot is inflamed.
So inflamed. It's like you think his foot is bigger than PJ Tucker's dead hand.
I don't know. His foot's not dead. It is inflamed though.
What happens when things catch on fire? Do they die?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I don't know.
They could.
He could. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez brought to you by Briggs Auction. How much would Zach LaVine go for at Briggs Auction? Briggs Auction is the 4-generation family-owned and operated auction house in Delco that has amazing, fun auctions every week, estate auctions. You can find art, collectibles, clothes. They are having another, their sports collectibles auction they did a few weeks back on Black Friday that I got 3 pairs of sneakers at, by the way.
You see what they sent me?
What'd they send you?
On Twitter?
No. Oh, Bobby Abreu, the autograph Bobby Abreu.
Signed ball.
Yeah, Bobby Abreu signed ball. They're going to do another.
Guaranteeing Bobby Abreu will be brought up on another podcast. That's right.
Briggs Auction going to do another sports memorabilia auction coming up. But as we do with Briggs Auction, there is an auction ending this Friday. And from that auction, we will have the producer CJ Briggs Auction item of the week.
Ooh.
CJ, what do you got?
That's right. I got a few things
geez.
of varying levels, so no one snatches them from me, hopefully.
Okay.
He's doing this so begrudgingly because he doesn't want to lose out on it. It's a charming feature of this.
Thank you. First one, we got some cool art. What stands out to me is this vintage please do not ask for credit sign. I just think it would blend in. It looks cool.
Yeah, that is cool. We should hang that up at Ricky headquarters for when people call up asking to advertise.
Next
Okay.
one, I'm getting. I got a
Yeah.
record player recently. Records are so expensive, and this lot is at $35 right now. It probably will sell for higher, but a bunch of classics in here.
Ooh, Air Supply, the
Clicking
Knack.
through fast. Don't look.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want you to look.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you can look. I don't want the value to go up too much, but let's just say a lot
Or
of hits.
Manilow,
Manilow.
Genesis. There you go.
And then last
Love
but not
vinyl.
least, I
Yeah.
feel like this fits in every
That's nice.
every dad's basement.
Pennants.
There's 10 of them. I don't know if I need 10 of them, but
Yeah.
it looks cool.
You could give them to 9 of your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. 9 of my friends' fathers who grew up watching this team. And those are my 3 things of the week.
There are a bunch of pennants in the Briggs Auction. So what I want you to do is either download the app, the Briggs Auction app, BRIGGS, in the App Store or Google Play, or go to briggsauction.com. What I would tell you is check in every week. There's cool shit in every auction, and it's fun to bid. That's all I'm telling you. I actually have to pick up 2 lots from Briggs Auction. 2. I'll do it the last week of the year. They better be open. Steve, Briggs Auction better be open. Look, briggsauction.com. And if you are downsizing, you got a bunch of shit maybe you think is worth a lot of money you want to sell. They're doing homes, they do vehicles, all that kind of stuff. Info at briggsauction.com. That is info at briggsauction.com. Mike, I have one more Star Hunter question for you. Or do I want to play the Star Hunter suggestion? Actually, I can't find that one. So I will read you the email. This came from Dennis, writes@Sanchez@gmail.com. Hey guys, this is Dennis, the guy who told you in the preseason this team was going to be much better and much more fun to root for than you were expecting before the season began, which Spike originally thought was BS, but I'll take the flex now. Anyway, my question is that Batum and Covington have given the Sixers the type of depth we so sorely need and a stronger defensive flexibility than we've had in a while. But they also might be salary match sacrifices in a, quote, Star Hunter trade. What type of realistic players would you be willing or unwilling to give those guys up for? The LaVines, OG, Siakam, Carusos of the world. Thanks. Love the pod.
I think there's no way Batum gets traded.
Yeah.
I think there's not a chance. Covington, because it doesn't feel like Nick Nurse likes him very much.
Yeah.
Certainly Marcus Morris.
Well, and by the way, if you're trading for OG, Covington's not going to play anyway. I mean,
I think it depends on who would be here. I think he still could.
No, I said if you're trading for Anunoby, like, I don't know. I just think there's probably a lot less, and Tobias Harris doesn't get traded. I think there's probably a lot less Covington minutes.
Well,
he's playing like 8 minutes now.
If you trade for OG and OG takes over Marcus Morris's playing time, then Covington continue being Covington. I would say I would not say no to playing both two very good defenders at the same time.
I agree with you. I'm just saying realistically, I think, you're in that sort of trade, you're
in a world where they're matching salaries, I would much rather, like, the team is too deep, like, as it is. Not, at least according to the team. Like,
deep with players. I hear there's 14 on the team.
Korkmaz and Dan House definitely think that they should be in NBA rotations, and in some teams they certainly would be. If you combine their salaries together, you almost get $10 million. Covington's making 11.7, so I think there's a world where that happens anyway. So I would rather stack contracts and have Covington here. It would be such a bummer to get Covington back. And
then trade him away.
Like, I would be upset about that. I think it's certainly possible. I'm not ruling it out, but I would be upset about it, obviously.
So the Spotify question in the pod, on the Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, CJ asks a question every time. Of course, Dan Olinger of the Danny for rights to RickySanchez.com now has to make 35 of 53 free throws on video to keep his job. CJ asked, will Dan make 35 of 50 free throws? Josh says not a chance. Can't read this name. Says yes, he definitely has that dog in him. Michael says no, LOL, which is kind of disrespectful. A different Michael says 35 exactly. And Jamie says that Danny should have to make 4 of 10 corner threes as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, it's an interesting addition, isn't it?
Yeah. Or maybe, that is interesting.
And the hard to stomach YouTube comment of the week, obviously we've retired even though 95% of our voicemails were about guitar solos versus dunking, we've retired it. But the hard to stomach YouTube comment of the week comes from Bing Johnson W6580. Warms my heart to know how sick everyone is of Mike being such a miserable bullying prick.
That's me. To a T. I will say one thing that you keep repeating.
What's that?
Is that how strongly the pro dunking people feel.
Yes, they're real assholes.
Indicates that they don't feel strongly in their position.
No, it indicates they're insecure that their position may be wrong.
Okay, so I find that logic to be faulty, just in general.
I don't.
So if you feel like, are you insecure about your position when you are constantly bringing up how bad Ben Simmons is? Like, it just doesn't carry through.
No, but the question was, what would you rather do? And the dunk people are insistent that the guitar people are wrong. One guy said
you would be
Twitter,
insistent that I would be wrong if I keep saying that Ben Simmons is still really good,
but
and would still be positive and could be a helpful player on a basketball team.
That's a different.
I just think the idea of like, hey, I feel strongly in my
what would you
position.
rather do? No, different.
I don't think so. You can feel what you want, that's fine. But I don't. I think that at least on a logic perspective, and at the end of the day, this is a logic podcast. It was a logic podcast when we were doing the process, and it's a logic podcast
I thought
now.
it was a basketball podcast. That's
No.
what you keep insisting why I should pick dunk.
Well, yeah, I do think that, and I do find it wild that anyone wouldn't, because I think dunking is one of the like coolest things any human could do, especially effortlessly.
I'm not getting into this debate,
but I just think the idea of like, hey, I feel strongly in my position, and so I'm going to disparage yours means I'm not confident in mine. I don't.
Well,
find
of course
the
that
logic
is
in that.
because you all.
If
all
there's
the
two
dunking
options, I'm saying mine is good and yours is bad. Why is
you're
that?
saying I prefer. One doesn't have to be.
I
bad.
prefer one over the other. I prefer
Yes.
one significantly over the other.
But the dunking people say your preference is wrong. That's the difference.
But that's what it has to be
doesn't.
that. If I'm right, then you have to be wrong.
No. See, I don't think you understand the question. I don't think you understand what preference means.
Well, I guess I don't.
No, if I say
I guess
to
I
you,
don't know what a preference is.
If I say to you, do you prefer vanilla or chocolate? And you say vanilla, and your preference of chocolate is wrong. It isn't wrong because I'm telling you what my preference is.
Absolutely. But if I said, I think vanilla, which I don't, but if I said, I think vanilla tastes like shit, it smells awful, it's whatever, that doesn't mean like, actually, you like vanilla.
But that's not what they're saying.
That's what it is.
Again, everyone who's saying it is saying that the people who choose guitar are dorks and losers, and they're defaming what guitar even is. Like, one of my favorite arguments is, well, you could just learn how to play guitar solos. I was like, okay, dickhead, go do it then. Then go spend the next 20 years practicing 7 hours a day to
but you
become an
can
amazing
more
guitar.
easily learn to play guitar solos than you could if it's one over the other. You could more easily learn to play guitar solos than effortlessly dunk.
That is true. However, there are people in this world who can dunk without ever even practicing 1 second. And there's nobody who can do that for guitar.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'm fine with that.
Anyway, I didn't even want to talk about it, for God's sake.
I wasn't even talking about the issue. Just the idea that like people disparaging one side to boost their side over means that they are.
I'm not asking them
less
to pick what
confident
side
or
is better. I'm asking them for their preference. And the
Well,
dunk people are very sad. They're just a sad group of people.
Dunking is the coolest thing that anyone could ever do. And effortlessly doing it is beyond. And nothing can compete.
Well, I do think you did say, and a couple people weighed in on this, both sides. You did say if at a concert somebody took out a ball and dunked, that would be cooler than somebody whipping out a guitar in the middle of a basketball game and ripping a solo. And somebody called up and said, if Joel Embiid just during halftime whipped out a guitar.
That's not halftime. I didn't say halftime. That's insane.
I don't care. At halftime,
I'm saying during the concert. During the concert.
Okay, so during the game, Embiid whips out a guitar and
get
plays
back on
Star
defense,
Spangled
bro.
Banner.
Get back on defense.
Okay. I'm going to ask you this. There's 2 voicemails I want to get to. The question for you is, do you want to get, and CJ, I'm going to ask your opinion too, because we will get a YouTube strike for this, there's a cringy Michael Rubin video.
Oh God. You're going to do,
do you want that? Or, do you want
and
it?
the doc button.
Do you want to hold the
cons.
cringy Michael Rubin video?
Yeah, I don't know if I can do all of it at once.
Okay. That's fair.
Let me like get mentally prepared for that.
Okay, all right. So there's 2 voicemails I wanted to get to 833 Lickface. Let me find them. Got to scroll past all of the. You can leave us a voicemail at 833 Lickface. What's today's date? The 13th? Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Here we go. First one, 833 Lickface.
Spike, Mike, CJ, this is Rob. Pressing question. How hot is this team? Like, in comparison to past rosters, where would you put them on the hot scale? And if Morey is to go out there and make a blockbuster trade, what player could we land that not only improves our on-court play, but just makes the Sixers a more handsome team overall? I personally think the addition of Nick Nurse, that makes the team just even hotter. Pretty hot guy, cool guy, love his glasses. So, yeah, let me know. Been really thinking about this. Thanks.
Well, obviously, Oubre is the enormous upgrade to this team. Is probably the best looking Sixer they've had in the
Oubre, handsome
here.
man.
Yeah.
I guess I have to look. I haven't considered Nick Nurse being handsome. I'm not saying he's not, but I have not. That wasn't like an easy identifiable for me. So maybe I'll think about it. I think OG Very handsome man. Jeremy Grant.
Lavine's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, Lavine's all right.
Yeah, a little thin. Got a thin face. Of the available guys.
Not the hottest bunch.
No. It's a good-looking Sixers team, I would say. But Oubre
always is.
Oubre is a large part of that, I would say. It's a very Oubre is a big part of it. And the final voicemail, 833 Lickface.
Greetings, Spikel, Michael, and Seagay. Longtime loyal listener of the podcast here. And I sent this question in email format, but I just am dying to be taken seriously. So my question is 2 parts. 1, which Sixers player is most likely to be on the court in the middle of a game, drop his pants, and take a big stinky shit right on the court, either in the middle of the court, under a hoop, I don't care where. And then 2, which Sixers player is most likely to run off the bench and help clean up the big stinky shit that the first player took on the court in the game? Thank you for taking me seriously. Goodbye. Spike, Mike, and CJ. Sorry, dump on the court guy again. Wondering if your answer to my previous question is Paul Reed. If you are in the press conference post-game, what questions would you want to ask Paul Reed if he did drop his pants and take a dump in the middle of the court in the middle of a game? What would some of your questions, follow-up questions, curiosity questions be to Paul Reed? Thanks so much.
Okay.
My answer is definitely not Paul Reed. It's definitely Pat Beverley.
Is the most likely to take the shit is Pat Beverley?
Yeah, absolutely. He walked and got a camera and showed it to a ref. I think that is on the road to taking a shit.
I think it's Pat Beverley, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think Embiid is up there too. Embiid's has a lot of stomach problems.
Sure, I guess I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, Pat Beverley probably Embiid second.
Yep.
Maybe you could say Korkmaz at just because he still has not been traded. Maybe the game after the trade deadline, he takes a shit on the court.
Yeah.
And getting onto the court would be a big step for him, especially if it's not during garbage time. And who would clean it up, especially if it's Pat Bev? It feels like he's taken one of the two-way guys under his wing. So one of the two-way guys would.
Well, let's say the full roster Sixers. I think it's Maxey.
Yeah, Maxey, sweet guy. Wouldn't want somebody else to have to do it. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Maybe based on what he said on this podcast, Mo Bamba just like doing the dirty work, doing whatever has to be done, whatever the team asks of him. And if that's cleaning up Pat Bev shit during the middle of the game, then maybe he's doing it.
Well, we will talk to you. So we'll talk to you Sunday after the Sixers have played Detroit and Charlotte. Hopefully they will. And then the final in this easy stretch is Chicago. And then I think I read on Twitter somewhere they only play one team with a winning record before Christmas, and that's just Minnesota. So can you imagine 7-0 in this little stretch?
Keep cruising. Just keep cruising. Keep building that lead.
Ooh.
The East has been pretty good, top few seeds. My Magic just keep doing it, man. They keep doing it.
Oh,
but they haven't been gaining much ground yet. But
okay.
But hopefully they'll playing some tough teams. The top 5 and Sixers will get to move up into the top 3 seed.
All right, we will talk to you Sunday. And remember, be kind if you have a different opinion than somebody else.
Otherwise, you don't actually have that different opinion.
Well,
your opinion is the other one.
You never know.
Could
We'll
be
talk to
that.
you next time. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah, Lickface.